In this video, we're going to be covering the material that were covered on the Friday before spring break. So in case you were not in class, please make sure that you look over this video and understand how we came to answers for each of these problems. So the first part of this video is going to focus specifically on finding sample space. And so if you remember, a few slides ago, we introduced some vocabulary. Sample space is defined as a list that contains all of the possible outcomes of an experiment. So the examples that we want to look at are, what is the sample space for tossing a coin? So what is the list of all possible outcomes that we can get for tossing a coin? What is the sample space for rolling a die? What is the sample space for possible outcomes that can appear on a transcript? And finally, what is the sample space for results of a football game? So let's go ahead and look at how we would find the sample space. So again, we use this notation, we use this notation right here. S is equal to curly bracket to indicate a list. So the curly bracket right here just indicates a list. S stands for sample space. And so when we're finding the sample space, we're going to always put it in that kind of format. So sample space for tossing a coin. So we know that the sample space is a list of all of the possible outcomes. So if you're flipping a coin, what is the possible outcome you can get? You can get heads. Another possible outcome that you can get from flipping a coin would be tails. And these are the only possible outcomes that you can get for flipping a coin. So the sample space for tossing a coin will be what I have right here. The next example, what is the sample space for rolling a die? So for rolling a die, what are all of the possible outcomes that we can get? We can roll and land a 1. We could roll and land a 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So our sample space for rolling a die is a list that contains the number 1 through 6. Now our next example is, what is the sample space for possible outcomes that may appear on a transcript? So what are some possible letter grades that you can get for a class or on your transcript? So you can get the letter A as your grade. You can get a letter B, C, D, and F. Now, is this our complete list of all possible outcomes? No, not quite. You could get an S for satisfactory. You can get a U for unsatisfactory. You can also get a W for withdrawal. You can get a WF for withdrawal failure. You can get an I for incomplete. And then you can also get an ATN. So ATN just means that you stopped showing up to class. You did not come to your final exam. So here, our sample space for possible outcomes that may appear on a transcript consists of this list right here. Now, last example, what is the sample space for results of a football game? So, if you were attending a football game, one of the possible results could be that your team won. So here, one of the possible outcomes is winning the game. Another possible outcome is losing the game. And then finally, there could be a draw. So there could be a tie in the outcome of the game. So the possible outcomes for a football game is either win, lose, or tie. So the sample space consists of these 3 outcomes.